Good afternoon and welcome to the end of day market review for March 29th, 2012. My name is Jason Waugh, one of the trainers and success coaches here with Ideal Trading Lifestyle. I'll be walking us through today's presentation. Now before we get started, we are going to ask that everybody gives this disclaimer a quick read. Once we're done, we'll go ahead and get started with the agenda. All right. So first things first, we're going to get started by taking a look at the daily news. Here we're just going to be looking and seeing what's been going on a global scale and how it's affecting the U.S. markets. We're then going to go ahead to the market outlook, where we'll be looking for the S&P 500's support and resistance levels, as well as identify the location of its MACD. We're then going to change over to the volatility indicator. With this, we'll be able to take a look at the level of fear and volatility that's in the current marketplace. Now, there's nothing on our current watch list, and there's nothing from yesterday. We didn't have a very good week thus far, so we are going to end up fast-forwarding through that and just getting into preparing for tomorrow and answering any questions that you guys might have. So, with that said, let's just dive right into things here and see how it goes. All right, here. Looks like I lost my open tab. Not a big deal. Go back to finance.yahoo.com here. And for the most part, we can usually grab all the information that we need right from their homepage. So it's just loading up here. And as we can see, we've got a little bit of mixed stuff going along here. First off, you've got the Dow Jones, which is up about 0.15%, and the S&P, which is down about 0.16%. So pretty mixed trading throughout the day. One of the things that stands out the most, though, is the decrease in oil. Oil is down about 2%, with gold up a smidgen, and it is up to 61.50. So it looks like our commodities are going a little bit over the map, and then your Dow and your S&P are both going mixed directions. Basically, we've got some concerns that's been going on with the oil and how that's affecting the prices at the pump. Job loss reports didn't go as great as planned. So you got a couple of contributing factors that led for the mixed trading. Now, the latter portion of the day did end up going a little bit smoother, but as we're about to see through the S&P 500, we're still down. All right, so here we are. We're looking at the S&P 500, and you can see that we're currently sitting below that support level that has been drawn since the latter portion of December. It's important to note that it looks like it is finding support at 1400, which has been a psychological milestone that we were looking to break back there in March. Now, the MACD is declining bullish with the black line down below the blue line, but we know that this has happened a few times, and the markets have had a chance to turn around and to work themselves back up. So really, we're just looking for something that's going to jump out as either negative and really push us down, or as positive and get us back up above the major resistance levels. Though if you look at things, gravity and the laws of physics just seem to be slowly pulling at it and saying, you know what, we've had a run, we've had a great time, it looks like it's time to level things out. But whether or not that's going to end up happening is really going to be dependent on what we see in the news in the next while. All right, taking a look here at the volatility indicator. The volatility indicator is now at 15.48. Now, it jumped up earlier this morning, and it opened up at a high of 1720. So it did a little bit of a roller coaster ride. but it's back down to its about what it's been for the last couple of days. So we're not concerned with the volatility. Again, we're not really going to see much change in price movement until the volatility indicator gets up around 20. Then we're going to start seeing some larger moves, but really no real concern until it starts to cross into the 25s. So all in all, it's just the markets. They've had some good runs, and they're just taking breathers. Nothing significant right now that we can say is going to be contributing to change in market sentiment. So with that said, it means the basic customers, you guys are done trading for the week. Tomorrow we'll end up seeing what happens and how it's going to be affecting the Monday's decision. As far as advanced customers, if you do plan on trading tomorrow, do so with caution and make sure that you're keeping an eye on the news and the futures. If you plan on trading ETFs, make sure that they coincide with what you see there. So with that said, I'm just going to open up the line here for a moment. Does anybody have any questions? Oops, there we go. All right. Donald, do you have a question?
Yeah, Jason, I just was wondering if you could quickly go through this market sentiment, some of what the terms mean. And I know what buy means, I know what sell means. Could you speak more on neutral, caution, and hold? I imagine hold would be if it shows up as a market sentiment, you don't buy. But what is caution and what's neutral?
Well, essentially, if you look at the algorithms and you look at your calculator, you're going to notice that depending on those different market sentiments, you're going to be expecting different types of pullbacks and different types of overall profit targets. Now, if you were to look at something that says buy, it's going to be expecting a very low pullback, and it's going to be going for a little bit more of an aggressive profit target. You're going to be buying high and selling higher. Whereas if you start to work yourself down that scale all the way down to caution, you're going to be expecting more of a pullback. So you're not going to be buying it at market value. You're going to be waiting and actually anticipating that pullback. Now, the magnitude of that pullback is going to be dependent on the MACD, which is why you need to specify whether the markets are rising, flat, or falling, and then what that market sentiment is. And then, obviously, you would have a more conservative profit target. Now, hold is put in place when we're just like, you know what, don't trade at all. A really good, obvious example would have been 9/11. If we woke up tomorrow morning and we heard about that devastating event, we would have put a hold on all of our trades.
Well, and this morning with the Canadian pick, the market sentiment changed and went to hold from neutral.
Yeah, and what we're dealing with right now is it's a really funny time right now because on the one side we're dealing with a very bullish scenario where the markets are pushing themselves up into higher highs. And if somebody who is uneducated were to look at this, they would go, wow, why aren't we making money fist over fist? It's because our system's saying, well, hold on, we've never been here before. You got to question, how long is this going to go on? Sadly, it could go on for 6 months, but it could also only go on for 2 days. So that's why we do trade if there's something that comes up, but it's going to be done with consideration, and you're not going to see a flat-out buy. You're going to see a neutral or a caution. And then at the drop of a dime, some bad news happens, and then the markets start to tank. And then obviously if the markets are tanking, you're not going to have a pick that way either. So it really is we're in limbo right now with the markets.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I was just like, so hold it. If the sentiment would go to hold, it means do not buy then. Just sit tight.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty well, yeah.
And that'll all be reflected in the calculator.
Yeah, and well, when I did the calculation, it really never changed any. Okay, the price-wise. Okay.
It'll depend on what the overall sentiment is. Also play with the rising, flat, falling, bullish, bearish. That will affect it.
Yeah, the market outlook or the bearish never changed any.
Right.
At least I didn't think it did, but I know it went from the market sentiment to neutral to hold, but you also had in brackets do not buy, so I just, and I really didn't like that stock anyway from what I looked at it last night, but it doesn't matter. So neutral is something that it's kind of neutral, but if you see a caution on a market sentiment, it could mean that stock could open lower then, is what you're basically saying.
That's right.
Okay. Yep. Okay, no, I just wanted some clarification on that. Thank you
Good
very much,
stuff.
Jason.
You bet.
Have a good holiday.
Thank you. I wish it was happening sooner, but it's not going to be until middle of April. So.
Oh, I thought you
There we
were
go.
next week. So okay then.
No, I wish.
Okay.
Good. All right. Anybody else? How's everybody else doing? Looks like people are good here. Good. All right, guys. Well, I would like to thank you for attending again, Thursday, March 29th, 2012. We will touch base again tomorrow. Ciao.